I can hear you even though you're muted.
No, I'm not.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. Episode, what is it, 67? The yesterday's price episode, as you'll soon figure out why, which obviously if you pay attention to the news and you watch and or listen to this show, you probably know what we're talking about. I am your host, Mr. K Asante, TKO Asante, Xbox, PlayStation, all the places you can find me. As you can see, this week we are camless for my video viewers, but that's because life happens. We get a little tired, you'll figure it out as we go along, but we're here.
We're
still
have our face masks and bonnets on.
And our bonnets on, the whole deal. And yes, let me introduce my co-host, the man who I'm appreciative is here this week because, man, life happens. Mr. Everborn Saga, welcome, sir. How are you feeling this morning?
I think you're gonna have to call me Mr. 1.5 today, sir. We'll get into.
You know what? You're getting too slanderous too early, sir. Because I think your victory lap is might be short lived, but we'll see.
1.5.
1.5. All right, bro. But yes, welcome everybody to the show. I see a few of the familiar faces already pulled up. Mr. Joanna Dark is here. Good morning, sir. Gerald Mack, the man, he's here. Thank you very much for being here. It's been a bit of a trying week for some of us, but the news stories go on, and gaming news keeps us happy. So we're here, and we will start this as we always do, with the games that we have been playing. And I will start with you there, Mr. Everborn Saga. Anything new on your playlist? Anything that's been keeping you busy this week?
I am working my way through Sonic Lost Worlds, and I'm sorry, you may not want to admit this, or you may not feel this way.
Okay.
But the game just keeps getting better and better as I play it. The game has literally, I'm just looking at some of the set pieces and some of the things they want you to solve and some of the obstacles, and I'm finding myself smiling while I'm playing it. I'm like, this is good. It is a fun game. I don't care what anybody says.
Everborn, I will not argue the point with you. I agree that it's fun. Remember, like I told you, I'm going to continue playing, and I too have been continuing to play. And let me put some on the screen real quick because
have the levels been getting better? Would you agree with that? Like,
brother,
as you get into it.
See, but this is the thing. I will agree with you that not only has the levels been getting better, but then my point that I made last week, that I've gotten many responses saying that they understood where I was coming from, gets more and more apt as this game goes on. It gets more and more brilliant level design, what they want you to do, even further as you progress. You're just like, wow, this is amazing. And the further I go into it, the more intricate the level design gets, the more I want to stop and look at all the nooks and crannies, the more I keep saying this shouldn't be Sonic, because he's going very fast. And I can't see anything. I can't go anywhere. I can't grab anything that I want to grab. And the minute I want to, then I have to slow Sonic down. And that's just weird. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you're telling Sonic to shut up and dribble.
You said that last week. But what I'm trying to tell you is, unless you find a new method to keep all that intricacy with speed, it's kind of not working. And that's what I get. That's where I thought, and I've read a lot of the criticism of that game. And that's where I thought that specific line of criticism was valid, right? Like, you don't make intricate, detailed levels and then have Sonic blaze through them. You make those intricate, detailed levels to have somebody who can, traverse and do all that fun stuff to really make use of that really intricate level design that you've put forth. I feel like, unfortunately, the way they're having Sonic go as fast as he's going, it's fighting against the brilliant level design they're showing off.
But again, here's the problem, right? I think that the complaint about you need Sonic to continue running because you don't. This is specifically why they have a run button, right?
Oh, so now you're justified in the run button. You were
I am
first.
now.
You were like,
I get it. I dig it, right?
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is,
and let's be clear. I agree. Also, I get why they did the run button, but don't you see? It's almost like giving Mario a run button, a boost button, right? Or making Mario like speed run like Sonic whenever he walks. You can make it work if you're good at it, and clearly in this game they did try and they did by and large succeed as far as gameplay moment to moment goes. But Sonic fans panned it because it wasn't what they wanted.
Again, there are Halo fans that don't want a sprint button, right? You can't listen to these people, right?
All I'm saying is the speed works against the game.
By the way,
not the whole game. Let me be clear, not the whole game. See, in certain levels like this, okay, it works. Why? Because, well, not this specifically, but a little bit before. Like, there are levels that maximize his speed, right? And in those instances, it's awesome and brilliant. And then there are levels where they want you to go, hey, how about that red ring over here? How about this other thing over there? Those are the levels that then kind of point out the issues. Because in those times, they want you to slow down and be intricate. And in those instances, you're just having so much fun running Sonic style. It's like, what the hell? Why do I have to do that? You know what I mean? Like, that's the only part that ruins it for me. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just, if we can give Mario a water gun and put Luigi in a haunted mansion.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Sonic can slow down every now and again.
Well, you know what? What I will give you, what I will say, and I said this on Twitter and you disagreed, but I will double down here. What I will say is, I think that even though this was panned, based on what I'm seeing from Frontiers, Sonic Team went, nah, screw that. We're still going in the direction where we're giving Sonic new things to do. So even though people didn't like this iteration of it, maybe they'll like the Breath of the Wild iteration of it. So by and large, from what I can tell, it looks like they still stuck to this formula there, but they gave it more of an open world, so his running wouldn't be so antithetical, right?
Well, I think
in these small jump to jump places, it might be antithetical in my humble opinion. But when you see him running in open fields like you do Breath of the Wild style, it makes a bit more sense there. So maybe that's what they needed to do. Maybe the open world was the clincher to then like give them these new powers and all this other stuff.
Well,
this way might not be the way to go. I'm thinking.
What I from what I've seen.
And real quick, by the way, this is the level right here. This is what shows you that it's against. You want to run, but you shouldn't run. You should walk.
You're actually just not good at this,
which is also true. Which is also both things can be true. Absolutely. I will not deny this.
I'm watching your gameplay, and I'm clenching my fists.
Well, but to be fair, sir, this was the first time I played it. This was literally my first go at it.
Yeah.
So yes, but
okay. So, but what I was saying is, from what I'm seeing of Frontiers, it seems like what they're trying to do is, they're promoting exploration while at the same time encouraging you to continue the chain, right?
Yes.
So it's like catch a rail, bounce off of a thing,
keep going,
jump to
momentum.
An enemy and keep going, right?
Yes, which is the opposite of what they were doing here.
But I think this is a completely different. I would actually like to see another like side project where they come back to this. Because, by the way, have you noticed? This might be the least buggy Sonic or 3D Sonic.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I
usually
don't have issues with Sonic games. Like, technically, I've never, besides the frame rate issues. But I usually don't have. It's not like bugs. Usually, it's frame rate that tends to be an issue. But
by the way, you see that thing that just happened right there?
Yeah, it's annoying as hell. Kept happening to me.
That is, I have died so many times because of that.
Yes.
I feel like we're talking about this game like it just came out, by the way.
I know, but you know what? We should talk about this game like it just came out because most people haven't seen and or played it, right? So,
I mean, when you talk about that 1.5 billion number, maybe a lot of people
you know what? And if that's the case, if that's the hill you want to die on, then you're wrong about this game because 1.5 billion people say 1.5 billion copies say this game was panned, so maybe they're right. How about that? Them apples.
I disagree, but also I've come back to Deathloop.
Please speak on that. Yes,
because I'm trying to finish it now. And because so you know what my dilemma was what I talked about last week, like when 5 came out, and Plague Tale came out, and I'm like, Deathloop felt like a chore, but I found myself playing Plague Tale and thinking about, damn, I'm almost done with Deathloop. Even though Deathloop felt like the chore. So I ended up coming back to Old Faithful Deathloop since I was in the middle of it. And I have been playing that on the Xbox and then playing Sonic on the Steam Deck. And my 12-year-old, who is she's super into anime, and like she's a huge Genshin fan.
Okay.
And I showed her the beginning of Persona 5. She's hooked.
Oh yeah.
She is hooked. So I think what's going to happen is in Casa del Everborn, the 12-year-old is going to play Persona. So if you see me getting achievements in Persona, it's her.
It's her. Although, and you should know, Persona specifically is the type of game that is beautiful and playable everywhere. Like even on a phone, it's great. Even on a phone without controller support, it's great. It's like, because it's methodical, the beautiful art style. Like the best comment I can give that game is the menus are second to none. The way they just wow. Everyone should be doing. They should not exactly what they're doing, but they should all be making those bold swings. Doing very intricate, interesting looking things. Even just the menu system. So I'm with you on that. I hope she continues playing it. It's like 100.
No, she came specifically last night and was like, "Oh, we're not gonna play Persona." I was like, "I'm tired. It's little what." You go play in the living room. But no.
I am everyone's Goro, like everybody's Goro. And thank you so much for being here, everyone's idol Goro. He's saying there's some spicy themes in there, Mr. Everborn Saga. You may want to be cautious as far as content.
No. She can handle it. With some of the anime she's watched, I don't think Persona has anything in there that that can get to her.
Hey, if you're an anime fan, you've seen some stuff. I understand.
So but yeah, so that's what it's been. It's been Sonic Lost World, a little bit of Plague Tale, coming back to Deathloop and watching the kid play Persona.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so let's see. Welcome, Lucius Augustus saying Kay is struggling with this fight. Yes,
he was struggling at Sonic level also.
Oh, y'all, look, maybe, y'all need to stop clowning my gameplay footage. That's no doubt. And shout out to Randall Aegis yesterday on Xbox 2, just literally laying into old peeps. But yes, what you're watching is my first attempt at Lost Legacy, the Legacy of Thieves collection on PC. I might as well get into it. So this I'll talk about this.
Before you continue, can we give a shout out to Jez's hiccups on Xbox 2 yesterday?
Oh, bro, hilarious! Absolutely hilarious. Hot mic syndromes, man. You got to be careful with those things. But yes, absolutely. And they gave us a nice shout out on the show, by the way. So shout out to them. Thank you so much. We appreciate him joining us last week. It was really awesome having him on. But
yeah, I got a shout out from Hogue Law.
That's awesome.
Latest episode.
That's awesome. I haven't watched his latest. I usually watch his like when I'm doing things. So I'll definitely check that out.
I'm trying to see if I can get him to come on the show. So
that would be brilliant. That would be brilliant, sir. We should talk in the DMs, man. That'd be awesome. Yes. But okay. Let's start with what I've been playing. For those listening, what you're seeing on the screen right now, as I said, the Legacy of Thieves collection. The problem with the Legacy of Thieves collection, which is going to be a theme that you're going to start noticing, because I have two games I'm going to talk about, and both of them have equal issues in this department. They're kind of buggy messes right now on PC for some odd reason. And for my video viewers, it is a glorious looking game, especially on PC. So you will see me taking many screenshots. But the problem here is out of nowhere, and this was the third time I tried to play through this, right? And I got about an hour and a half in before it happened again, and it literally just crashes to hey, we have an issue. Look, the same thing that used to happen. Remember, I spoke to you about Forbidden West on PS5. Same idea. You hit a certain threshold, and bam, it's done. Like over and over and over and over again. And initially, I thought it was my PC because PC issues and whatnot. Sure, but you check the Steam forums, a lot of people are complaining about roughly the same kind of thing, where it's either not starting at all or it's starting and intermittently crashing on people. So I hope that, and this is like literally version 1.0 of the game.
Is this their latest? Did Nixxes help with this one?
No, this is Iron Galaxy. Actually,
Well,
this is Iron Galaxy. maybe, who knows? But there have been
Galaxy,
no updates.
Who Microsoft should have bought.
This would be late. Iron Galaxy for Killer Instinct. Iron Galaxy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, this
is the same Iron Galaxy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Same.
Yeah. What is Microsoft doing? Why don't they scoop them up?
Probably because they don't want to be scooped up. If I'm not mistaken, Iron Galaxy is run by Adam Boyes, a really good dude. I actually had some spaces where he was on, and we had a good chat. Very, very, very nice individual. And they basically expressed, at least anecdotally in that conversation, expressed their staunch independence. They're looking into like making their own stuff. They want to be their own guy. They don't want to be bought
later
out.
They get acquired by
right. Yes, until the money's right. That's right. Absolutely.
That's what you say when you're trying to drive up the price.
Maybe. Well, okay. And to be fair, that conversation we had, it was like a bunch of gamers in a room. This was some time ago, in a room, just having a chat, right? So it was just what his thoughts were of the moment. Who knows what the real business is after that?
Well, so for me, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, Microsoft doesn't need to buy everybody." They don't, but they do need to buy a developer to handle Killer Instinct, because at this point, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you get no argument.
Right? All the other teams, they either need to form a team or buy a team, and they should be dedicated towards the Killer Instinct IP. And by the way, here's another controversial take that no one will agree with me with, which tells me I'm right. Killer Instinct should be multi-platform if we really want it to be.
We've already heard your.
We have new listeners, so I will tell them again.
Look. The only bone I'll give you in that regard is if we live in a world where your platform is differentiated only by the content that you're offering, meaning you're the Netflix of games, meaning you could be on Xbox, you could be on PlayStation, wherever you are, and you'll get a Game Pass app or whatever. Sure. If we live in a world where you differentiate your platform by the exclusives, then no, right? And clearly we're moving away from the exclusive world. So your sentiment may eventually bear out. But in a world that's defined by PlayStation as the market leader, where console exclusives are what bring the boys to the yard, so to speak, Killer Instinct being multi-plat would be a bad look, because then once again you're ceding ground, saying that your platform isn't the one that you should be buying exclusives for. But that's neither here nor there. We're giving short shrift.
I know.
This brilliant game on the screen.
I'm going to be 2 seconds on this. It is not a hard and fast rule for everything. I'm saying fighting games specifically, Killer Instinct has always been used as an exclusive property. And I feel like that is the reason it is not regarded as up there with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And any fighting game that does do that, that is used to prop up an ecosystem, doesn't do well in the pantheon of fighters. I think a fighting game, specifically Killer Instinct, with its long legacy, should be up there with Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. And the way they get there is by going multiplat. And every major fighter, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, everyone is multiplat. And when they went away from that, they have failed, a la Street Fighter 5.
On that, I will agree with you on that.
You can still have exclusive benefits by putting exclusive Xbox IP character on the Xbox version or whatever. You can still use it to benefit the ecosystem, but that one IP specifically, because it's a fighting game, it should be everywhere. That's it. We can move on.
All right. Well, I will let Lucius Augustus' statement here have the last word. He says fighting game fans want Killer Instinct. They would buy an Xbox for Killer Instinct. And that is the business model that Sony has dealt with. And in the world where Sony's business model is the business model because they are the market leader, making yours multiplat, while I agree with you wholeheartedly about fighting games that deserve in the pantheon tending and needing to be multiplat, I agree with you. I do. Because it should be Killer Instinct, should be regarded in those heights, and it's lost a step because most likely it's exclusivity nature of it. I get that, but in the world in general, and we're not talking fighting games specifically, but in general, if the market leader defines the market because they're leading the market, then you can't be multiplat when they keep dropping exclusives. So that's basically.
But they aren't dropping exclusive fighting games right now.
Yes, they are. That's neither here nor there. Okay, let's move forward. Have you played this game?
Sony does not have a fighting game IP, but okay.
Have you played this game?
I have not played this.
They haven't needed to have a fighting game
IP.
They haven't needed to have a fighting game IP because through just by the nature of it, they get exclusive fighting games, right?
And none of those things are working out for them. But sure.
But so you haven't played this game. You have not played.
You know that the only Uncharted I've played was the first one on PS3.
Okay. Well. If and chat, please tell me I'm wrong and
abuse
me of disabuse me of this notion.
Talking to the chat. Sorry.
You didn't call me yourself. Disabuse me of this notion here, chat. But if Everborn Saga's legacy to Uncharted is the first one, which had a spark of greatness but wasn't the best, right? Graphically and story wise. It didn't reach its cinematic heights, right? I would say 2 and 3 really, really did that. But if you've only played the first one and haven't played the others, I would say play the others, true, but play this next. Because this is an offshoot that is beautiful and fantastic and like really great in unusual ways. Like, an Indian and a South African who normally hate each other on opposite sides of the trajectory, right? Because of a job that is undeniable, come together and they get to know each other, and it is like while you're going through the story, and this is unlike the other Uncharted, I should say. While you're going through the bombast in the story, they really, really, really like work on that moment to moment character building between the two of them. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Like, unusually so, and it's nice and short, unlike the other Uncharted's. This is about 8 to 10 hours, I think, at most. It's nice and short. It's a very nice compact experience. You don't need obviously it benefits from context, right? But without the context, you can still enjoy the hell out of the game. I think this one is like an offshoot that tends to be, this is the Rogue One of the Uncharted franchise. Although I enjoy all of them, I think this is the offshoot that really, like, some could say is my favorite, and I wouldn't deny it. It's really, really good. Like, character building, beautiful moments. Like, it's very, very, very good. Everborn, if you have a chance to, I think you should play this one because it's short and you don't have to bring any baggage into it. It's its own contained thing. It's very good. Really, and they deal with the Indian being an Indian woman and the culture and all of this, an African woman. Like, they deal with some very interesting things. By the way,
are these supposed to be the two women from the that were
Uncharted
in the movie
series? No. Well, no. Yes, actually, yeah. Isn't she should be? Yeah, I think she's from the movie. Yeah.
Both of them, or just one of them?
Both of them, yes.
So then the African woman, the South African woman, was the villain.
Yes, okay. Exactly. Yes. Now, and I would say in the movie she was better cast than the Indian.
Okay.
Like, her acting prowess,
but she had more to do also.
True, and what I would say honestly, the woman who plays the Indian woman in the games, and I forget her name right now. Please forgive me. Chat, please remind me what is the name of the Indian woman in this game? Please remind me. The woman who plays her voice is also an actress in her own right, and she's actually even the face model for her. And she would have done a way better job. She's an actual actress. Like, she would have done a way better job, in my humble opinion, because I've seen some films that she's been in, than what the actress that did get the role in the Uncharted movie. But
But
the
in the
woman,
Uncharted
I say she did
movie,
great. Mhm.
in the Uncharted
Nadine.
movie, she was a mustache twirling villain, right?
Yeah, they made her very one note. Whereas in the games, she's very layered. She's a tough chick. She's very layered. You learn to like her. She's tough as nails. I liked
Did
her a
she
lot.
used to date Sully?
No, not Sully. Well, no, she didn't date any of them. It's the other one that dated what do you call it, Drake. But yes,
Okay.
you'll learn all of that. Yeah, Chloe Fraser. Thank you so much, everyone's idol. Yes,
I did not hate the movie, but that's because I have no connection to the games.
yeah.
And
If you
I
played
thought-
the games, you'd hate the movie because it was very, very a derivative of the movie. The game was way better.
I thought, and I watched it with the missus. It was like a fun throwaway movie, like like Venom, like a 90s action movie, basically.
And if you've played any of these games, and with the exception of the first was a spark, but it really didn't take it there. If you've played anything from the second ones on, and even this offshoot, you will see that what that movie is, which is an insult to what this franchise deserves. It really deserves better. It's beautiful. It's got a lot, and you know me. I play everywhere. I tend to lean more on Xbox because I like the controller. But when an Uncharted game comes out, I'm there. Like it is, like when they say, Sony cornered the market on the cinematic game. This is the definition of it. Like it is chef's kiss in every aspect. It's very.
I don't think Nadine is in the movie. That's Joe Braddock.
No, Nadine is in the movie. Nadine is in.
Nadine is it?
Yeah, but these two characters are Nadine and Chloe. Nadine is the black character. Chloe is the Indian.
But in the movie,
and both of them are in the movie.
So what I'm looking at in just IMDb, it says Tati Gabrielle plays Joe Braddock, and she was the villain. So I see Chloe Fraser as a character in the movie, but I do not see Nadine.
Yeah. So basically they basically made the Nadine character and just called her something else. Huh. Okay. That's weird. Because if you've played the games, she is 100% Nadine. That's what she is. Tough as nails, black chick, leads an army. Literally, like it's Nadine. But I guess they didn't call her that. Interesting. Okay. That's good. Now, and real quick, we'll move forward from this topic. But there was a little bit of shade that I threw at this game, and I still throw it at this game. Like,
Jared Mack says Uncharted is the best movie he ever played.
Yes, absolutely. It's really good. My only bit of shade here is why is it that Laura Bailey has to play everybody, including a South African character? Like,
because she's a name that will get people interested.
There are enough names in this game. You don't need to make Laura Bailey the black character. You don't need to do that. Like, there are enough names here. Like, at this point, there are enough names here, and that was not necessary, in my humble opinion. But not to say that she doesn't do a good job, because she does. But her South African accent is terrible. But again, that's me.
Well, okay. So I listen. You know how I feel about this stuff. All I will say though is South Africa.
It's not necessary, but
I'm saying there are a lot of white people in South Africa.
Oh no, I get that.
A lot of white
but then have her play a South African character. Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So it's not that she's South African. A white person can play a South African.
Of course.
Just like Leonardo DiCaprio did. But don't tell me she's a black.
She's a black. Exactly my point, sir. Exactly. Yes, you can be a white South African character. Of course, there are many white South African characters. But why can't you? That was my only bit of.
And this was way back. Character model changed after the fact, though. Maybe
no. She looks exactly like she's supposed to, and then they put Laura Bailey's mouth on her, which I think is just unfortunate. Especially at the time when this came out. This was in between your Last of Us's and all of that. So you just keep hearing Laura Bailey everywhere you go. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, stop it already.
Tell you what,
needless to say,
kudos to her agents.
Yeah, absolutely. Get yours. I got no problem. I think she's a brilliant actress. She does great work, and I look forward to seeing most of the stuff she does. It's just, I think the people who made a decision to make her the voice could have thought a little bit further there, but it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is what it is. But okay, so I've been playing this, and we went through it, and quickly let me touch on the other game I've been playing, and I have no video to show of that for a very, very interesting reason. To button this up, at the end of this video, the very end, it's not me actually turning the game off and I will and moving forward. It is the game crashing. And then I was like, okay, I was done. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, let me try Gotham Knights. So I didn't buy it because I ain't buying that game. A buddy of mine has bought it already and had it on Steam. So we do we do like a family share. You can share your library with somebody else. They can share their library with you. So I wanted to play it, and I was like, hey, anybody got a copy? And I saw he had a copy. Can I borrow it real quick? Sure. So I went and downloaded it from his account and played it on my PC. And you can do that. Pro tip for anybody who doesn't know that. I think you can even do that with Steam Deck. So that'd be awesome. Anyway. So I got a chance to try that out, and boy, oh boy, Everborn Saga, that game is a freaking mess, man.
Wait a minute now.
Even on PC.
Hold on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something about that game. I have not bought it yet, but I plan to. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping by the time I buy it, they have some performance patches out, which is some are supposed to be coming out this weekend.
Yeah,
but everything I've seen from the game looks interesting to me. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah, why do you think I said I wanted to play it? Because me too. Everything. I enjoy the idea of co-op. I enjoy the idea, and
I don't enjoy the idea of co-op, but
the idea of co-op in game.
I enjoy the Court of Owls story, and I want to see it from their perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why do you if I didn't want to play it, like hearing all the trash I've been hearing about it, I would not have even bothered. But it sounds interesting to me, and I want to play it in spite of the performance issues and whatnot. I really wanted to give it a shot because you're not going to chew my food for me, right? As they say.
No,
so I hear your opinion, but I can then try it and then form my own. You know what I'm saying? Like so.
I feel like and I'm not. You played it, right? And you can speak to the experience. Yeah. But I do feel like too often I see this where we're like, we didn't play the game for ourselves, but Digital Foundry told us
dogpiling. Yes,
right. It doesn't get a locked 60, right? It's 50. Yeah. I know that this is 30 frames a second. I'm not saying that, but you were playing on PC.
That's not even. Yeah, that's not even. That's not.
No, I understand that. I understand that. I'm making a separate point, right?
Yeah.
Because I see this far too often where, oh my God, this has 5 less frames a second than that, or this is not like. Are these things really burning your eyes, or are you just saying that because that's what Digital Foundry told you?
Sure.
Right?
Sure. 100% true.
That's the thing I want to get away from. If you played it and the performance is crappy, then fine. But don't let Digital Foundry tell you the performance is crappy.
Exactly. Well, let Digital Foundry be what Digital Foundry is, a tool that is used to analyze the technical prowess of a game. Right, does not mean that should be your barometer for whether you buy a game or not. Right, it is an interesting side note to the reviews and your thoughts and all the things that we do when we're interested in the game. Right, people put too much credence in just that technical review. And I think that's unfortunate, right? It belays a lot of other points. Is the story great? All the extra other things that make a game
more to the experience than the technical aspect.
Exactly, 100% agreed. But let me get to my point on this game. Okay, the problem is what I thought it was is really what it is, which is so unfortunate, right? And some of it is not their fault, and some of it is their fault. The part that's not their fault. This game is not Arkham. It is not the Arkham games at all. And that should be okay because what they're building is a different game. And for what it is, the idea is there and could be good, right? It's fun. There's moment to moment, like combat that's not bad, right? But it's not the Arkham games. Although it comes from a studio that made one of them and is from a publisher that's known for them. So it makes it very difficult to disassociate the Arkham title with it, right? And honestly, to me, that's not their fault, right? They made Arkham Origins, right? Which is also, even in the Arkham series, different than the other two. And I actually enjoyed Arkham Origins not more, but I enjoyed it. Right, I really did. I thought it was great. I thought it was underrated. I really did. I thought they did special things with the boss fights and stuff more than even the other ones that people love did. So I was excited to give this a shot because I feel like they get short shrift when it comes to the Arkham name, right? But playing this game, it's almost like they shot for the best of 360 levels of complexity. It's very strange. Like, I don't understand some of the decisions they made, like the stuff that some of the things they put in it. They talk about an open world. Yes, absolutely. It is an open world. It is a relatively large open world. But the minute you start on a mission, you're gated. Like, the open world is there, and you can literally walk 2 seconds like to the left, and it says, "Oh, you're outside the mission parameters." And if you don't stop, you're gonna be the game is gonna quit and restart you.
And the whole
Very
game
strange.
is like that.
Well, if you are going on a mission, that's the strange thing, right? In the original Batman, all the other Batman games, right? You're on a mission. There's a bunch of stuff going on in the street. You go and you fight people on the way to your mission, right? In this game, you can't go off the beaten path when you're on a mission. Like, if you're on a mission and you have to go to this place next or that place next, if the thugs or whatever happen to be in your path, literally direct path to your next objective, yeah, you can do that. But if you hear something on the left and you want to traverse a little bit outside the path, something that Arkham Knight and Arkham City and all the others would let you do, this one will tell you you're outside of game parameters and make you come back to it. Otherwise, it quits your mission. It's very strange, very strange. And the world is empty, like Xbox 360 empty, and it's really weird comparing that to Arkham City. And I know it's an unfair comparison, but it's an unfortunate one that gets made, right? Because Arkham City, even the clouds, Arkham City in that game, Arkham Knight, even the clouds in an empty world make that world look dense. Like, it's just dense. The rain and the clouds and the streets full of trash, and it's just it's just so much density. The complexity of the building design. It's just so much intricacy in that world. In this world, it's empty. Like, very empty. And then it can, even on PC, it can barely hit. Like, I have a 3080 FTW, which is overclocked. I have a i9 5 gigahertz processor. I have 64 gigs of RAM. I have a PCIe 4.0, which is basically the PS5 level speeds of an M.2, and that's what it's running on. I barely hit 65, 70 frames per second, right? Barely, and I'm doing 4K. If you do 1440p, it gives you a little bit more headroom. If you switch to DLSS, changes nothing. You switch to FSR, changes nothing. Switch to FSR 2.0, changes nothing. All those settings don't work in the game right now on PC. Like, they don't work. They're there. You can change them. They do nothing. You see no changes in anything when you make those changes, when you make them. So, my smoke that I'm providing here is, why did you release this game in this state?
Maybe we should come back to my advice. Which is, don't buy games on day one.
Bro. Both can be true. Both. And let me be clear here. I am with you when people, when you say, hey, why are we so harping on this stuff when it comes to, it has to be 60 frames, right? Like, if I have an issue with it, it's my tech brain. My tech brain is going, they see a lot more overhead. And instead of, being conservative and still making sure you can hit the 60 frames, they are now using that overhead to reach for higher heights. And of course, what does that do? It brings you back to 30 frames per second. I hear, that is an argument to be made. And I wish that was not the case in certain instances. And sometimes it's warranted. Hey, take it on a case-by-case basis, right? So when it comes to the 30 frames conversation, I don't think that's even a thing that we should even be discussing. The whole Xbox Series S is holding us back. Stuff is ridiculous. And for those, we talked about that last week. For those who want a rekindle of that, check my Twitter. I actually read a thing this morning by VG247. I think that's how it is, VG247. And they had an article I read and a video that added to it, and it was excellent, like hilarious. I need to watch more of their stuff. Yeah, VG247. Basically making the point that y'all should just the developers should just, even they are human and they're also capable of being stupid. And in this instance, those who joined in that fray were being stupid. Like, literally, that's what the article contends, and I happen to agree. But let's be clear here. On PC, if you release a product and you say it has DLSS 2.0, if you say it has FSR, and these are the upscaling methods that people use now if a game is too much to handle the raw rasterized rendering, right? You use your FSR, you use your, and it drops the resolution down a little bit and then upscales it and gives you some overhead. None of those settings actually work. Like physically, they don't work. It's almost like, beta build. These things haven't been implemented yet, right? So it's stuttering all over the place. It's, and when you're trying to get into when you're in the open world and you're like, oh, that looks interesting. The minute you go off the beaten path, it tells you you can't. I played as Catwoman, and I really Batwoman, and I really like I hear that there's different classes.
You played as Batgirl, not
Batgirl. My bad.
Two completely different people.
Different characters. Yes, absolutely. See, there you go. Absolute fraud alert on me. Batgirl. And I actually like the fact that there are multiple different classes. It's not just a skin, right? They actually play differently. Some are lumbering, others are very fast. I really enjoyed that. But even in that instance, sometimes you're on her bike and you're just like, this is not intuitive or fun at all. Like to say that Arkham Knight's Batmobile sections were better than this is the biggest insult I can give it, because those sections were terrible in Arkham Knight, but that was far more fleshed out and complete than what they're doing here. So I'm just like, it's difficult. I'm gonna continue playing it because, like you, I like the Court of Owls storyline. There are and maybe this is a final criticism that you might be with me on. Okay. Even in the Court of Owls storyline that I do also appreciate because I've read the comics and I really like the lore of it, right? Even with that in mind, you play this game a few minutes in and they have like thugs that are Court of Owls thugs. They're wearing like Court of Owls like garb, right? And they're the thugs for Court of Owls. And they're running around and you can beat them up. And I'm just like, y'all didn't read this comic book, did you? The Court of Owls don't have thugs. That's not how this works. Right? I haven't read too far. I haven't gotten too far into the story, but the fact that I'm seeing guys, you know how it is, right? You have the Joker's guys, they have clown masks. You have this other guy. They all represent differently, but they're thugs representing those people. The fact that you have people with owls masks on that you can beat up tells me that they may have kind of screwed up the story, because the Court of Owls is strategic in the background. They don't have thugs. They're at a higher level than that. Right? They don't have people that they command.
No, I mean, they are like a cult for if you know, and
yeah, exactly. And if you don't know, you've never heard of them.
Right?
You would never see them walking around with people with Court of Owls masks. You've never heard of them. They've been running stuff in the background for forever, but you've never seen and or heard of them. So why would they have like minions that are walking around beating people up in their name? Makes no sense. But I'm early in, bunch of crashy this and that. That's the only lore / story sport criticism I have for it, because I haven't gotten too deep in that, and the fact that every once in a while, one of the voice actors will drop a line, and I'm just like, come on, guys, oh well, this is what Batman was doing before he was killed. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to continue where Batman left off. I'm just like, God, what is going on right now? There's some problems with it, but I'm gonna continue playing.
I think I'm gonna get it like early next year, like January.
Yeah, you need to get it. You need to get it on a Steam sale. Play it on the Steam Deck. By then, all the patches and bugs will be worked out.
I want to play it in all its regalia. So I want to wait till it's on sale on Xbox.
But you definitely want to play it on PC, because otherwise you're not hitting them 60 frames. And
no,
PC,
but you don't think they could do a 60 FPS patch?
They can, but the decisions they've made here, I think if they do, and the way that's another reason why they got some smoke. The way they explained away why they couldn't do the 60 frames, I think the minute they actually do it, which let's be honest, they can, it counteracts the point they were trying to make. Right? I don't think they'll do it.
But
I hope they will, but I don't think they'll do it. So today, here and now, you want 60 frames, you're gonna have to play the PC version. I think. Yeah, let's wait for 2 months and see what happens.
But I don't plan on getting it today. But then again, So here's a question, right?
As Lucius Augustus says, the game is very unoptimized everywhere. Completely agree. Please continue.
Here's the question. What happens to WB Games under the David Zaslav reign? Right?
Now, have we gotten confirmation that Zaslav now controls WB Games? Because there was back and forth about that. I wasn't sure.
I'm not sure either, but let's assume he does. Okay. Right?
Because that's still the jury's still out on that, I thought. But continue, yes.
Like when we see the projects that he's been cutting, when we see how they're trying to lean up the company, when we see they're trying to save $3 billion, if this game doesn't perform, right, the way that they've been cutting off other projects, what does Zaslav want to do with the game?
I see where you're going, sir. We can go there. And you know what? I appreciate that you're going exactly there. So I will pause us for a quick moment and thank all the 61 people so far that are in here right now. I appreciate you guys being here. The chat is lively. Thank you so much for being here. Please consider hitting the like button if you haven't done so. Please consider subscribing, because that's what helps this channel get to where we want to go. And we're trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers. We're so close. And with your help, we definitely can get there. So thank you guys very much. But to your point, Mr. Everborn Saga, you were saying, hey, it looks like, it's not performing. And they got Zaslav, who's the Grim Reaper of all things, coming in. What will they do? I think this is a wonderful way to segue right into the conversation of the weeks, which has been driving us crazy with this week. And yeah, continue more on the Zaslav point. But while you do, I will put the financial report of Square Enix right here, and you will continue.
So the thing is, and I won't be long on this, but I wonder if this game isn't a financial success, and Suicide Squad comes out next year. It seems like they want it to be a service-based game, but I don't know how that's going to work. I just don't think. I think it's going to be great because it's Rocksteady.
And real quick, a quick aside. Speaking of that, you wanted it to be a service-based game. There are bones and little dribs and drabs of service-based game like Destiny 2 like systems also in Arkham Knights as well. And it's really weird and misplaced. But yeah, it looks like they were going for that.
I'll tell you what, Arkham Knights, from everything I've seen from it, it reminds me of Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really like Avengers. It's Avengers. It's the very last. What do you call it? The last Wolfenstein game with the twins. It's like money grab with the tumultuous studio. That it's like a perfect storm of a lot of weirdness that kind of came together in this pot. And there's a spark there, 100%. But it's weird. It's quite
right.
Weird.
So. I don't think that, while I do think it will be more well received than, like I said,
shout out to the Mag. Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's Mag's in the building. What's happening?
Yes, he's watching it while working.
But I think that I don't think it's going to do the numbers in terms of recurring revenue that they probably hope it will do. And this is just me guessing. I have no idea. But if it doesn't, right? How does Zaslav look at the gaming division? Because I could picture them saying, listen, these things cost too much. Disney has it right. Let's license off these games to people, and we'll give them however many years they want, like Disney does with EA.
Yeah.
Because that basically takes all the liability off of us. Because now,
sorry, sir, I keep interrupting you, but we have like some superstars in the building. First it was the Mag, and now we have Boxenberger in here.
What's happening?
Good.
We got to get Boxenberger on here one of these days.
I know it's difficult. The timing is always weird. We've been talking in the background. One of these days we'll get it worked out. No worries. But thank you so much for being here, sir. Continue, sir.
So what Disney does is they've basically offloaded the liability, right? And we know that WB Discovery is trying to cut costs. So why not push that because they had to pay however many hundreds of millions or tens of millions to make Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And these are games that come out every 5 it's maybe 7 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
They don't have a
spend
good
all
cadence
that
of
money,
quick iteration. So
right, with no return. I could see them keeping Traveler's Tales, right? Because they can make that, but then again, they already got rid of their mobile game studio, which was whatever their name was, but they sold them to EA, right?
Recently.
So I just wonder how long they're going to do this before David Zaslav, aka Eddie Scissors, says that this isn't going to work, right? And if that happens, does Embracer Group swoop in? We see they just got the Lord of the Rings rights, right? Does Tencent swoop in?
Yeah, that is very interesting. These are some interesting things we have to consider. Like,
and to be honest, I don't know if Sony. I think Sony would be interested in the whole thing, right?
I'm sorry, somebody just tweeted this out, and I thought it was hilarious. Zaslav, the Phil Harrison,
Easy. No, but I think Sony would be interested in all of WB Discovery because that would help more of their business, right?
Like, you think they can afford it? You think they can really?
I think they can do a merger, right? If Discovery got WB for more than they were worth, why can't Sony?
Sure, yeah, right? Then definitely Sony can do that as well.
So
that would be on a limb for them, right? If that doesn't work out, that could really ruin them.
Sure. And remember, Sony doesn't have their own streaming service, their own streaming video service, right?
Yep, that's true. It wouldn't really help their WB, the other sides of Disney. They might be able to make use of those parts.
Because they have to imagine Sony owning all of DC and what they could do with the movie side of things. I think instead of only relying on Spider-Man, right? So I think it could be beneficial to them if that's the route they would want to go. But I don't think Sony benefits apart from NetherRealm. I don't think Sony wants what Warner Brothers has, right? Because Sony has a bunch of studios now that take 5 and 7 years to make a game, single player game.
They don't want another one that does that,
right? And hundreds of millions of dollars just to have a single pop. I don't think Sony needs Rocksteady, right? I don't think they need WB Montreal or whoever else, or Monolith, right? They have Naughty Dog, right?
Yeah.
They have Guerrilla. It's the same kind of studio. Sony wants someone who can give them service games, right? I think for Sony, what they move on is something like CD Projekt Red, maybe.
See, right? and real quick, a quick aside, while you bring that up, what are your thoughts about that? The rumor of them trying to acquire CD Projekt Red. Do you think that is, first off, do you think that's a valid rumor? Because we've heard a lot of rumors of Sony trying to buy something and it doesn't really turn out to be much. And if it is true, do you really think it's useful? Is it good for them? Is it good for CDPR? Is it good for PlayStation if this happens?
I think it would be good, although, right, somebody tweeted the other day they've been in talks. CDPR have been in talks with Sony. I'm like, have they also been in talks with the Polish government?
Yeah, right? Exactly. They would have to be in talks with the Polish government. Yeah.
Right. So, and the reason for that is over there, like the government kind of invests into the studios there.
Absolutely.
So you basically got to get in bed with the government if you want to do a deal of that kind. However, for Sony though, I think it would be good.
Ooh, everyone's idol Goro makes a brilliant point.
That's exactly what I was coming to.
Yes, right? Dog Galaxy is brilliant right now.
Exactly what I was coming to. Right.
Yep,
it would give them a PC storefront.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And they can move into PC and not.
And let's be real. Let's be real here. Like quietly and under the covers, GOG Galaxy is better than almost every other like storefront these days. Not as far as content, not as far as what they sell, but just the store itself. Like GOG Galaxy like connects to every other platform you own and can tell you every game you have, all your achievements across everything. I mean, PlayStation, Xbox, doesn't matter. It connects to everything and can talk and have one like source of all your gaming places, and it connects to. It's brilliant. quietly. No
Risk
one
it
uses
for the biscuit. The thunder from down under is in the building.
See, we're pulling all the greats today. This is amazing.
All right,
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Yes, but continue.
yeah,
Yes.
I think I think it would be, I think CDPR would be a good move
Yeah. For Sony.
for Sony. Now there is one thing I want to say, and I want you all to, since we have so many folks here, I want you all to remember that I said this, right?
Oh boy, clip it.
In the same way Alfred told Bruce in The Dark Knight.
Oh
right?
boy. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
you take COD off the board. You take Activision Blizzard, and we all think this deal should go through, myself included. Sony is not going to take that lying down, right? And I think it will be a victory, but we need to prepare for Sony to do something that will hurt.
Their wrath. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
And but this is what's exciting to us. No.
Yeah, it's super exciting to me.
Yeah, because we're gonna get amazing things out of this.
I take the tears wherever they come. Right.
Well, in addition to that, but what I mean is that their like wrath to compete will also trigger Microsoft's back and forth.
100%.
That'll all lead to us getting more stuff,
Absolutely, but I'm also talking about the Twitter timeline,
the Twitter tiers.
So what I'm saying is, I'm saying steel your nerves, because there is a world where Microsoft, which I 100% believe this deal is going to close for Microsoft without restrictions.
Yep.
Right. And Risk It says, what if they buy Sonic?
That's right.
Listen, let me put it to you in a different way. And here's something I could see happening. What if Sony bought Atlas from Sega?
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
But again,
I don't think they could do that now. Like that's a thing that could have been a factor in the equation before, but now that Atlas is finally everywhere and they're tasting the Steam money, they're tasting the Game Pass money, I don't think you put that genie back in this box.
We'll see, but remember, Sony, they absolutely could buy Capcom.
Oh yeah, 100%,
right?
No doubt.
I think we've all come to accept like they're eventually going to buy Square. I don't know that they will. Right.
And on that point, please regale us with let's get back to the story at hand here. And this is just a quick aside. I know you wanted to quickly chat about it because you made a very interesting point when Square and that basically that came from this report that you're seeing on the screen here.
Yes.
It's a public report. Anybody can go find it. It basically shows all the pluses and minuses that they had this calendar, this fiscal year, and basically they now need help. Oh, we can't meet our targets. The Japanese market is no longer enough for us. Please, tell me what you thought.
So I'm coming to this like right now.
Okay.
I think I just like, I know that we've all mentally prepared ourselves for Square, but we need to think bigger and think that Sony could go anywhere.
I'm with you,
except for maybe EA or Take-Two, because all the other publishers are within striking distance for what Sony can afford.
And everything that people have historically kept in their minds about it. You need to rethink your positions, because check the market caps these days. The ground is swelling beneath our feet, people. The prices that were beyond reproach, beyond reach before, are very much accessible now. The market has taken a huge dip. So things that were beyond Sony's grasp before might be very well within their grasp now. Right?
So for me, as long as Sony doesn't get Sega, they could buy everybody.
They could buy everybody. You don't care.
I genuinely don't care. And it is what it is. So I'm just saying, if you're an Xbox fan, know that Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion just off the announcement of Activision. If Activision goes through with no concessions, I promise you they're going to make a big purchase, even if they have to overpay. So just prepare yourself and don't get upset, especially if you're cheering for Activision to go through. Now, Square. So one thing I noticed here, every piece of news that comes out from Square
is always calculated for a later effect.
Not only that, it seems like the situation is becoming more and more dire, right? Everything we hear is anyone, please acquire us.
Help us.
Right?
Help us, please.
And I think they are effectively they're signaling to people like Tencent, right? Because when they say we want to sell pieces of our IP, right? That's Tencent's whole business model.
Yep.
We won't buy the whole thing. We'll take a piece, right?
Welcome to Victor Alistine. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
And they're complaining about the production cost. And I think this is why you see some of these deals, because they spend all these many tens of millions of dollars on production budgets, and then they're making things that are specifically targeted towards the Japanese market, and the Japanese market there's not enough people there to satiate that demand, so or satiate what is needed based on the development costs. So I think that's why you see deals like the Final Fantasy VII deal is because
morning, good sir. Welcome to the GOAT.
They're basically going to Sony and saying, listen, we need you to take some of the liability off of us. So we need you to cover the development costs, right? Yep. That means everything we sell here is going to be all profit if Sony covers it, right? And I know that we all want Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16, or at least some of us. And it hurts that we don't have it. But I think what's happening is Square is saying Sony's willing to basically pay for all of the development costs. And that's why, of all the things that they claim they don't make money on, Final Fantasy is not one of them. Yep. Because they're basically using Sony to remove the risk from them.
Yep,
right?
Yep, absolutely.
So if Sony paid for all that development and you make and you sell this thing, even though you're selling half as many copies, you really didn't risk anything in terms of production or development expenditures, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So the games
their moves are strategic. Wow.
Yeah.
They made Power Wash Simulator?
Right. They published it. They didn't make
it. They published it. Okay. But I didn't know they were associated with it.
The games they're complaining about are the ones that are multi-plat. When you think about it, right?
True. Yeah.
But those multi-plat games, they're not getting everyone to pay for the development for them. Those multi-plat games, they're paying for the development, right? And so they've got to recoup whatever they spend for the development and marketing. So they need to sell a certain amount, and it's just not happening. And when you're making
shout out to the man Slow Mo.
If they just remake, I don't disagree. So I'm saying all this to say Square is food, right? they are not going, they can't survive in this new world, right?
They recognize that.
If you want to keep your development staff, you have to pay them, right?
Yep.
And you're paying them in the face of Capcom, raising salaries. You're paying them in the face of an industry where it's more common to work from home, so your geography doesn't help you. Your talent can go anywhere, right? So these costs go up just to keep these people on staff to make these games, and you're making games that is highly geared towards a single market, which I'm sorry is a small island.
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
you
It's
have
it's a
to make
vocal
things
island, but still a
right.
small island.
You have to make things that have a more broad appeal, right? And uh, I know people are saying, well, just release games on Xbox and you won't have this problem. But there's a chicken and egg problem. And I think it's going to take some
Yeah.
time before
And
those
that
gamers.
and let's be honest though, that chicken and egg problem was cultivated and really promoted by Sony.
Sure.
Yes.
Coming back to bite them now. But the point
Yes,
is,
true. Yes.
if Sony doesn't move on
Mhm.
Square Enix, and I suspect they won't for
Okay.
two reasons. One, they're trying to convince the regulators around the world that they are a hit dog and they won't be able to survive without Call of Duty.
They're a
So
beat dog who can't holler.
right.
Well, they're hollering a lot, but still.
So that's one reason they won't make any moves until they're sure the Activision deal is going to go through. And then the second thing is, I think there are other targets that get them where they want to be, because Sony, who has complained about production budgets going up and who wants to expand, I don't think Sony wants to buy Square, because they would now have to cover all these costs of all the games that Square makes.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So they would end up losing the same money Square loses. I think Tencent is a better target for them, or Tencent will move on them. Or the Saudis. Remember, the Saudis want to make
they're out there too.
Make a purchase, right?
Absolutely.
But for me,
well, and also Embracer, who also like said they had made a purchase, but they didn't say of who, and it was
but it wasn't these guys, because we would have heard it here.
We would have heard it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would have heard it here.
So now, I actually think, aside from Sega, Square could be a high value target for Microsoft. Why? Because they want to move into that region, right? And they're weak in that region. And Phil has literally said they want to invest in that region, right? And they have a new model that will allow Square to continue doing what they do and target that region of the world. And they've basically they found a way to subsidize the development costs through subscription services, and a way to lessen the barrier of entry, and a way to get those games on mobile via cloud. And Square makes a lot of turn-based JRPGs, which are perfect for the cloud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And so, Persona 5 even now is proving that point.
Sony does not move on Square, I think they could lose them to Microsoft.
See, and you don't think there would be more back and forth as far as regulators and all that?
For what? You can't make any of the same arguments. Not one of the same arguments you could make. The entire
Final
Activision argument, it hinges on the scale of Final Fantasy is not on the scale of anything that.
Well, they could say it's the backbone of our platform. It's why people buy.
No, they can't. No, they can't. The numbers won't bear that out. Right? Final Fantasy is not a number one seller anywhere. And if you look at the games that are on there, we have the numbers. 5 million? 5 million for Final Fantasy VII Remake? You're telling me that's a foreclosure risk?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. Oh, and before we move forward and close this topic out, I have Dorian Gray, shout out to you, sir, for being here, asking why buy the cow when you're getting the milk already for free.
Because
and to that,
somebody
sir,
else
I say
might
it's
put
because
a ring on the cow.
Well, I was about to say it's because there are wolves in the farm, and that milk might not be free anymore very soon. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well just scoop it up real quick to make sure your supply is sustained.
Before you end up like Ray J putting out songs like I Hit It First.
Hey, and speaking of Ray J, do you know what I discovered? Yesterday, I discovered that on the Xbox 2 that they are now sponsored by Raycon, a headset.
Nice.
Which I was like, Raycon, like that Raycon? Very interesting, very cool. Shout out to them once again. It's funny you bring that up, but you know what? We are now an hour and 10 minutes in. This morning, sirs, we have decided we're going to keep it a brisk 2 hours because life is happening. There are, people have some some other places to be. So we're gonna start you off, and then we're gonna send you over to Living Split Screen to catch the rest of their show. So
do we
will
have a
move
tech
forward
drop
quickly
this week? Because there's so much with Elon
we
taking over.
we don't have a
Twitter
tech drop
and-
this week
and-
because of our time. I feel like maybe we need to have a special show just for the Twitter, because that thing just came out of nowhere. It just kind of hit me over the head. I was like, what happened here? It was a joke. It was a joke until he bought it, you know.
Look at Slow-Mo's comment.
Let's
I
see.
think that's very
the
true.
last comment from old Slow-Mo saying, you may not always get the milk for free, i.e. BioWare and Xbox.
Exactly. You can't keep counting on that.
Very much
and,
true.
And
very
I
true.
do think, because remember, this is the last thing I say and we'll move on, right? A company, in order to be acquired, has to want to be acquired, right? This is why some deals happen and other deals don't.
And by all accounts, they're very much telegraphing they want to be acquired.
Exactly. Sega, so far, even though we want it to happen, they have not telegraphed that.
Yep.
None of their financial statements, none of the public statements they make say they want to be acquired. Yep. And it is a family-run company.
And I mean, to the point on Square, like to really like drive that point home, you know what Square does, because you've seen Square do it before. They insult their Western studios, they get rid of their Western studios. We saw it happening a mile away before it happened, right? We were like, why are they doing this? And I said it, they're being strategic. And now you see what they're saying here. Clearly, that's what they're doing. They're going, hey, someone buy us, whether it be Sony or whoever has the deeper pockets. Although I do agree that if they had their druthers, it would be Sony, I think. You disagree?
No, I don't disagree, because they already have a great working relationship.
Yeah. You know, and some out here also say, hey, you know, Nintendo could do it. And their relationship with Nintendo is also strong, but Nintendo has not been as willing to drop the cash as some of these other companies have in the world of consolidation that we're living in. So we shall see. But thank you guys again so much for being here. Once again, we're almost at 100 viewers on the show. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. But let us move quickly along, because we have a few other things that I want to get into, and some of them may be longer. Our story, our big story, will be yesterday's price isn't today's price. Or actually, I guess to say today's price isn't tomorrow's price. But we'll get to that.
Speaking of that, everyone's price is going to go up once
we're getting there. Stop.
Okay,
let's get there. But before we get there, I had to stop a moment because I wanted to have this conversation. And I'll sit there and I'll stop and I'll let Mr. Everborn Saga read that headline a little bit, because he knows where I'm going with it. Go ahead.
I mean, this is a good sign, right?
Yes.
Could be better in every way. I don't disagree with that. I still think.
What do you still think?
Sonic will be the #1 seller this
holiday. Here we go. And to that point, I'm adding these two things together. Here we go. This is why, you know, now for those who want to read the story, they're you know, the headline is grabbing, but there are details in the story that you should read. But yes, by and large, it looks like Sega claims. See, that's where the headline is very interesting. Sega claims the Sonic franchise has surpassed 1.5 billion in sales and downloads.
They don't claim it. They're putting claim on. They said it. Right?
But if you read the article, like, you know, and look, I hear what Sega said, and I'm now reading what Jordan Middler is saying, and the reports are, yeah, okay, but that's literally what it is. Yeah, okay, but continue. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing: 1.5 billion downloads. Over 1.1 billion of that is downloads, right? And everyone, if you are on Android right now, go look up Sonic Dash 1 or 2. You will see that they both have over 100 million downloads.
Yes.
Right? Apple doesn't tell you that, but Android tells you.
Android tells you how many downloads you get. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, it'll tell you up to 100 million, and then from there,
and then it'll start doing pluses. Yeah.
Right. So again, and this comes back to the point that we always had. People think that Sonic is not popular. I never understood this, because Sonic has always been popular, and he's never been more popular than he is today. You cannot go into a Walmart or a Target and
that is no doubt. You are inundated with Sonic like propaganda wherever you happen to find yourself.
And that has always been the case. Yes. Right?
See, and that's what's so unfortunate about it, because with Sonic propaganda being everywhere, it should hit the heights of Mario if the games were there as well.
We think that we are the end all be all of
it's the
of
kids.
all this
It's
stuff,
my children.
right?
That's what I've learned.
Do me a favor, go do a quick Wikipedia search for top gaming franchises of all time, because that will tell you actually unit sales, right?
Okay.
And Sonic is number 14 with over 400 million units sold in its lifetime. Right? That doesn't count the free downloads, if you want to take that out of the question.
Okay. No, yeah, absolutely.
Right? And I don't think, I disagree with Rodimus that the movies revived him. He was always there, right?
Because don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years.
There was always the Sonic Boom cartoons,
which was terrible, by the way. I've
fantastic.
They're not.
A lot of kids watched it, right?
I know my child watches it too, which I think is terrible.
You had the Sonic Boom cartoons. You had the free to play games that people were playing. He was always in the consciousness, and that's why they made a movie, because the character was popular, right? So maybe not.
But what does that have to do with
it, right? So the thing is, and we have this bet going on. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick XL. Boom thinks it'll outsell God of War 2-1. I'm not on that.
I think
train,
he's smoking something.
But it will, and I'm saying this. I'm standing on this square.
By the end of Christmas, like we're talking
this
2022 only. This holiday season, you think Sonic will outsell Frontiers. Ragnarok?
Yes.
Which is on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4.
Yes. And Sonic
is everywhere.
Which is on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox
Switch,
One, Xbox Series, PC, and Switch.
You're right. But again,
and the Switch has
more. To be good, dude.
The Switch, you keep putting that caveat. It will be good, and everyone's
saying,
"You
know that? You don't know that? You don't know that?"
IGN thinks it'll be good.
No, not necessarily.
Okay,
because I've watched all of their coverage of it, including the latest and greatest of it, and they say it's gotten much better, but there's still some things that they had problems with that are still there. That's their last review of it. They say it's much better.
They had was popping and things like that.
No, they said that it got much better as far as it felt incomplete in the development, and now it looks like it's gotten a lot more polish, right?
Okay.
You know, it looks like it's gotten a lot. And let us once again be absolutely a buck here. Let's be 100% clear, okay? I suspect between the two of us, I am more excited to play Sonic Frontiers than Mr. Everborn Saga is, I think, because I want this thing to be great. I want this thing to be great. I want it to outsell. I want to be wrong. I will gladly give the knees, because that means that Sonic team has finally hit one out of the park. I want to see it, because you know what I will give you credit for is you and John Wolf. The introduction of Lost Worlds has really turned the corner for me as far as like what Sonic team is and what they're trying to do. Before, I thought they had passed their point of success. Now I think they still have the chops. They just have not caught the zeitgeist yet. They're either early or late to the game in many respects. So if this one works, and this is their Breath of the Wild like
Sonic team,
if this one works, oh please, they've missed many times, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest this much.
All right. So,
but if this one works,
my
this will be
point is
the good one. Yeah, go ahead.
The point is, the Switch will be the primary platform for Sonic.
Which is a problem.
Ragnarok,
but okay.
Ragnarok is not on the Switch.
Yep.
Ragnarok is not on PC. Ragnarok is not on Xbox.
That is true. Yeah, it is only on PS4 and PS5.
People have kids, and many people would not let their kids play Ragnarok, but they would let them play Sonic. So I suspect that the people that are buying Ragnarok on the PlayStation 4 and 5 will also buy Sonic. And I suspect that all the sales that they're not getting this holiday season, right? Nintendo needs a kid-friendly game for this holiday season. It is Sonic. Right? Again, PC and Xbox who will not be able to buy Ragnarok. Sonic is there.
So let's move on to Sonic
will be the number one seller this holiday.
Let's move on to the Sonic topic. But before we do, let me before we do move off the Sonic topic, let me give one in and one for and one against you. All right. So here's one for you. Yeah, hold on. Here's one for you. We have Erodimus say, "Don't let Sonic the game be $60. It's a wrap. You know, if it's $60." True statement. And then we have Victor Alistine saying, "No offense, but the Sonic game is not popping." So still, at least with among our rabid hardcore fan base, the jury is still 50-50. But let me be clear, I will be playing this game. I'm looking forward to this game. Oh, and Lucius Augustus, to not be outdone, he says that game. What about Pokemon? That game comes out in like 3 weeks, and it sells more than anything Pokemon does. Like it is.
That's true. I'll give you that. I didn't know Pokemon was coming out.
Yep. So hey, kids need the game. Kids got the Pokemon, and the Pokemon tends to be good every time it comes out. Like their record is spotless, right? I think the game's. I'm sorry, I aged out of Pokemon. It's nothing for me. But it's a spotless record that Pokemon has, whereas Sonic Team's record is kind of spotty, right? So we shall see. But I'm there for it. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a very interesting time. Let us before we get into the topics proper, because we have about 30 minutes left of the show. But I kind of wanted to get your take on this. I heard this thing making the rounds, and people were like doing like, I guess you could consider fake outrage about this whole thing, saying the Modern Warfare 2 crossplay can't be disabled on Xbox or the PC versions, but it can be in game on the PlayStation versions. Did you hear about this stuff?
Yes, I heard that. I don't care, and you can disable it. By the way, I was wrong. Uh-huh. It's 151 million lifetime sales of the Sonic the Hedgehog. Traditional sales.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That also happens to be 3 times that of God of War, the God of War franchise. Who's in the 50 millions.
Well, but to be fair, the Sonic franchise also predates the God of War series by many years. But okay.
Yes, but we weren't selling
many years
at that time. Like
no, but it's not about it's not about the number of consoles or even the sales amount. It's about the fact that people came into the early generations knowing exactly who Sonic was. They had to learn who Kratos is. So the idea that Sonic is a more popular brand, obviously, they've been around since before 3D, right? So you know the fact that even the fact that Kratos comes even close to Sonic is a feat. Because
but he doesn't come close. Sonic has sold 3 times as many units. So it's like Kratos is in the 50 million range. Sonic is 150.
Okay. We will as we do on this show. We will revisit this as we draw closer. How many days until Sonic is out?
About 10 days.
10 days. Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be good. Okay, so you don't care about this thing. Do you care?
Okay, so here's the thing. Because I saw this yesterday, and there was this whole thing. I had to retweet Brap and give him some context and all this other stuff.
You were out there fighting the fight. Yeah.
The people were upset, and people called this egregious, along with the other perks that you get from the PlayStation marketing deal.
Yep.
You can't turn off crossplay. Now, this was interesting because this was a point that Microsoft made in their filings with the CMA, right? Where they were talking about where they were discussing the foreclosure incentives, and they were talking about how Activision does not allow you to turn off crossplay when, as a response to the CMA saying that Microsoft could potentially bring Call of Duty exclusives, and Microsoft says no, crossplay is too important to the game. We would damage the franchise. And Microsoft said Activision does not allow you to turn it off. I think that you being able to turn it off on the PlayStation was actually something cheeky to discredit the claim Microsoft made in their response to the CMA.
But you're telling me, and let me see if I can understand this correctly.
And you can look this up. I'm not.
No.
I'm
not. You know, and let me be clear here. I'm not casting aspersions at all. I'm just trying to understand exactly what you're saying. You're telling me that Activision assisted Sony in discrediting Microsoft's work?
I don't think that Activision,
because it would have to be, because there's no way. No. This is an in-game setting.
Everything is contractually obligated, right? So if there was a loophole and Sony got to make that decision because of their marketing deal, then there was just a loophole, right? So the thing is, Activision may not have had a choice, right?
Okay, so you're thinking that this is how well, okay, I hear you on that. But how? So you think that this has been put in the works because they knew Sony knew Microsoft would use this as a talking point?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Interesting. Okay, continue.
So that, I think that's why this is happening. But I do think that these so just to in Microsoft's response, right? And I'm looking at the document now, in 3.51, right? Where Microsoft said, this is the second bullet point of B. So point B of 3.51 says, furthermore, Microsoft would have no incentive to degrade the quality of the game made available on PlayStation. The CMA's suggestion that given the high number of players, high quality matchmaking would continue. High quality matchmaking would continue to be possible even if crossplay were compromised is again a simple assertion that reflects failure to understand the relevance of crossplay, which goes well beyond improving matchmaking. In fact, the fact that Activision does not allow Xbox PC players to entirely switch off crossplay for Call of Duty matchmaking on these platforms shows that it is not the case that a high number of Call of Duty players is sufficient to allow smooth cross-platform play. I think this is all about angling to the CMA, right? It all comes back to that.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
So Microsoft wants to prove that you need it, right? And Sony wants to prove that you don't need it, and that Microsoft could use it against them later. Okay.
Yeah, no, I do see that how that can be a talking point that's construed that way. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So and then the next point is there are exclusive weapons and exclusive perks, and some of us in the community called it egregious that Sony could do that. And
well, it's not. Well, okay. To be fair to those in the community who had a problem with that, it's the idea, like to my understanding, it's the idea that you keep harping to the CMA about foreclosing and about even if they give us partial foreclosure, and even if they give us access, it won't be to the level that we expect. And then you turn around, and this is the flip side of it, where you're doing exactly what you're saying that they'll do to you. You're doing it. That's the problem that people are talking about.
The PlayStation marketing deal is a known commodity. We've all accepted this. But it is egregious in the context of the arguments they are making.
That's right. You can't both say, oh, we don't want you to let them buy them, because if you do, they're going to have the special guns that we can't have.
That we have 2 minutes
later. That we don't have today, and then 2 minutes later it comes out that you're giving special guns that nobody else can have on that.
Right, like, and you want to use regulators as your pit bull to do a business negotiation for you and give you the things that you get today, even though you're not the one spending the $70 billion.
Exactly, and I get those who
hold on. Shout out to Enigmatic Dreams. He found us through Ram and Mr. Boomstick.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. That's awesome. Yeah, welcome to the party. Welcome to the slanderous party. Good morning. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. I think it's super interesting that this is where they're fighting. This is the port of call that they keep going back and forth about. It's so weird about, like, Even the smallest little, oh, well, this can be turned off in the settings, but it can't be. And that becomes the sticking point. All the while, you know, the it's a backdrop to what's actually happening in this industry. You know, I honestly, and we'll move forward from this, but I guess where I feel that those who want to be angry have a point is those regulators who are regulating this all should be paying more attention, because we see, hey, they're saying this, and then look at what they're doing. And we're hoping that the CMA sees that as well. And by that, I mean, me personally, I mean, I don't care if this thing goes through or it doesn't go through. I don't care. Like, it doesn't. My only love for COD is the single player, and I hear the single player is actually pretty amazing this time around, so I'm going to buy it for that, right? But by and large, the reason why
I was waiting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy it.
This to be a Game Pass. Yeah, but here's the thing. And then my son just asked me for it.
Yeah,
but he wants to play it on the PlayStation. I said, "There's no chance, buddy. You're gonna if you want this game, you're gonna have to play it on the Xbox and the living
My
room."
only dog in this fight is we cannot sit idly by and watch people who purport to be the regulation and they're calling the balls and strikes and all of this, and just watch one of them completely be disingenuous and bullshit. That's my one. And then let it slide and still be able to call yourself a regulatory body
until their preliminary decision.
Exactly. That's what it's about.
If in the face of the evidence they say that dumb crap, then we can get upset. But until then, you can't, because it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do
with the fact that, oh, they're doing it against Microsoft. It has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, it's Sony doing it. It's the fact that we can see it with our own eyes. And the people who are purported to be the ones that are supposed to be the arbiters of rules and justice kind of are you know, letting it rub off of their back like a duck. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, which I think should, in order for us as a people to continue to put faith in these regulatory bodies, they must be smarter than us, and we shall see if they are. That's my point on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but I don't think we should. All I'm saying is, we should not be casting aspersions on them until they make the evidence-based decision, right? Yeah. They reached out to market participants. It so happened that Sony was the only snitch, and so they have to take what Sony says at face value until phase two. Phase two is when you have to corroborate these things. And this is why I think the CMA is going to go through with little to no restrictions, because they will investigate these things and see that those fears are actually just self-serving business moves. And if that is not the case, then we can get the pitchforks and say, make these accusations. But until then, I think it's premature to say that CMA is in pocket.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. And let us move forward because our time is limited. I want your take on this guy right here. This is to your point of Microsoft buying, right? They're out here trying to get more moves. I don't know if you read this very interesting article, suggests that with and the broad strokes of it, I would suggest people read it, and I'll put all the stuff in the show notes.
I have 4 words in response to this story that will solve all the.
Let me set this up real quick. They're basically saying that with the success of games like Genshin Impact, which are printing money, right, and obviously Roblox and Minecraft is the stuff on their own, but China is out here really doing things, and now Microsoft has dipped their toe in the waters with a game like Naraka Blade Point, which is also now really moving the needle for Microsoft, to the point where they are now thinking seriously about Chinese developers. And this article contends that that's probably their next port of call as far as acquisition. Go.
All right. So 4 words: Black Myth Wukong.
Oh, baby. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, I would like to point out that Microsoft not only passed on Spider-Man, but they also, turns out they passed on Genshin.
Yeah.
You gotta have a better eye for these things.
Yep, absolutely, right? Sir.
If there's one credit you want to give Sony, is they see where the puck is going in terms of zeitgeist, and they are right on top of it. And Microsoft has to get better.
Microsoft also does. They just tend to be too early. in the infrastructure and
Being
platform
too
space
early is the same as being wrong.
as being wrong. That's right.
Timing is everything. And I'm just saying, when these deals come past their plate, they have to do a better job at recognizing the ones that,
yes. And you have
are
so
gonna
many
work.
resources. Why do you say no? Like, just say yes. You could keep doing what you're doing. Say yes, and then keep it
No,
moving,
because I suspect that there's a million things that, it's just that, like, in hindsight, everything, like, oh, you should have saw that. You don't know, because everybody has a pitch. You don't know what this thing's going to turn out. You don't know what lightning in a bottle people are going to catch until you have it, right?
Yeah.
So it's
right
hard, and there's a lot of projects that they pass on that end up actually being flops. So we can't really say that. Now,
and many projects that they did not pass on that also became flops. I'm looking at you there, Smilegate. But yes, continue.
Right. So the thing is,
and of course we have OBM, friend of the show, in the house, and he comes with facts. They also missed out on GTA 3. Whoo boy.
Right.
Amazing.
So that's another thing to consider. But again, I don't know that Microsoft. I would have to take a look at what publishers there are in China, because I don't think Microsoft wants to buy an individual studio that's operating out of China, right?
Yeah.
And there's different, like,
well, maybe this is like maybe this
region.
is deals, kind of like how Naraka has a good deal.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah. So I don't know if their next acquisition comes from there, unless they're buying a publisher that can operate in that region on their behalf. But the kind of deals that are coming out, I'm telling you, man, you have to say, and I know Black Myth seems like a single player game, but you got to get that. It would mean a lot.
It would mean so much to Game Pass. Imagine you see that coming in there. Because if that came in there, that would then, let's dovetail to the next story.
No, well, forget about it coming in there. If that comes out as a PlayStation exclusive,
oh, that would be so detrimental to Xbox.
So even if it doesn't go to Game Pass, they need to make sure that is on their platform.
That comes to, yes, absolutely. And you know what? Let's speak a bit more about that. Microsoft misses the Game Pass subscriber targets for a second year. Well, and by the way, real quick, that is the metric that is tied to Mr. Satya Nadella's bonus. So 2 years in a row, the man has missed his bonus because they have not hit the number that they said that they would hit in order for him to get his bonus.
I don't know that that's actually what that means, though.
Okay,
right?
Continue.
So, and again, I see OBM is in here. He can probably speak.
Please, yes.
More.
Please speak. Define it for us.
And I don't know if Hamp is in here, but if he is, maybe he can explain it also.
Yes.
But this target is based on Nadella's bonus. It is not the actual target of what they were looking to
they are moonshots, basically.
Right?
They are moonshots.
Any service,
because if you look at the number,
nearly 30% is a huge win.
Look at the number.
Right.
That's what and I love the headline. That's why I brought it up. But if you read deep into the details, like exactly what OBM said, the numbers are highly unrealistic. Can you imagine they expected from year to year for it to grow 70?
No, it's not. No, you don't expect that. It's the moonshot. That's the bonus.
Yes, it's the moonshot. Yes.
Right, exactly. That I'll give you CEO this if you can give me that. Right. Yeah. If you can get that, you'll get this bonus. That is separate from actual targets of
actual targets and actual numbers. Yes.
Right.
This would be cake. This would be icing.
Saying they missed the target is a bit disingenuous. Yes, you can say Nadella didn't get his bonus, but this is not the actual target of the service. The growth of 28% is insane.
Exactly. Insane. Exactly. And exactly right? to Lucius Augustus's point here, this is only 10% of his bonus as well. So
right. So again, it's a headline.
I love the headline. That's why I brought it up. Yes.
But it's actually
when you dig into the details,
about nothing, right?
Yeah.
When you hear that, by the way, we've also heard that Game Pass growth on console has slowed down. They didn't say it stopped. They didn't say it reversed.
Slowed down.
They said the growth has slowed, right? I can tell some people haven't taken pre-calc, right? So the thing is, when we say it's slowed down, we're talking about the rate of growth. We didn't say it is losing subscribers. And the PC numbers, although we don't know what those are, we don't know how many people subscribe to PC, so 159% could mean nothing.
Shout out to Rodimus. He's like, yeah, I agree with you. I think that Nadella will be fine. I agree with you.
Right, he'll be
he'll be all right, I think, you know.
Just like the Twitter CEO that Elon fired, they get now a $60 million bonus. I don't feel bad, right?
Threw him out with the kitchen sink. It was hilarious, amazing.
Yeah. So, by the way, that's actually, if you're into mergers and acquisitions, that's standard practice. When two entities merge, you bring in a sink in terms. It's a way of signaling good luck for the merger. And it's the same thing as breaking a bottle of champagne on a new ship, right? So it's not that Elon was being a clown. If you're into mergers and acquisitions, that's actually a regular thing.
That's a thing, yeah.
Go look it up. But anyway, I'm saying all this to say that the growth on Game Pass is fine. And the fact that it is growing and not losing subscribers, in the face of only having Pentiment in terms of first party this year.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly. I think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if this is on the docket.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Bring it up, man.
Is Phil Spencer's Wall Street Journal interview.
You mean, yeah, economic resilience in the, yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, speak on it. Mm-hmm.
So, I think we need to wrap our heads around the idea that everything that is said and done by Microsoft, Sony, and Activision are all strategic at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I want everyone to think about this, right? Everything, all the headlines that Phil Spencer got is exactly what they want. It's exactly the message they wanted to put out there, right? So
this is the equivalence of them grabbing a bullhorn and wanting their message out. Yeah.
So the CMA is concerned about COD. What does Phil Spencer get a headline that says? We intend to keep COD everywhere and we want to put it on the Switch because the CMA says the Switch doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right. So we want to extend the places that it exists. We want to treat it like Minecraft and not like Bethesda.
Yep.
Right. The CMA is also concerned about the monopoly that Game Pass could be in gaming subscriptions. What does Phil Spencer say? Oh, it's only 10 to 15% of our revenue. We don't see it growing past that. We definitely don't see it as being 50 or 70%. So this subscriptions won't be our only driver. So we're not a monopoly here because we still believe in the old business model that our competitors have to run by. They are also concerned, the CMA is concerned about dominance in cloud, right? So what does Phil Spencer say? Oh, cloud is such a small thing. It's not going to be anywhere near what we thought. So we had to push our own cloud device back for several years. Right? All of this is messaging to the regulators. And you have to understand when you have this much money on the line, you do that. And the reason you come out now and say that Game Pass is profitable. Why? Because regulators are looking at you and they're saying you are purposely losing money on this service so you can foreclose your rivals. And Microsoft says, no, we're making money on this service. So we're
by the way, a quick headline that came out of this that people did not catch. Sony has already announced their profitability. Microsoft, Phil Spencer, announced that the Series S and X is subsidized to the tune of $100 to $200 per console, expecting to get the money back. So even now, $100 to $200, and I said this way back when, the CPU in the Series S alone costs more than the Series S. And this is what they're telling you.
12 teraflops is going to cost.
Yes, the CPU alone. Now, obviously, I was comparing it to retail price, but still, same clock speed, same thing. The CPU in the Series S alone costs more than the entire console. So that's what they're doing here. While on the flip side, Sony's going, oh yeah, we made a profit. Oh, by the way, we're charging y'all more. Lots of interesting nuggets coming out here and there. You know what I mean? This is where that back and forth about the CMA and them paying attention to what's going on. This is where this comes from, right? You have one side taking a hit every time you buy one, which is what you do in this business. All right. And then the flip, you have the other guy making a profit, but then still somehow making sure you pay more. You know, not only did they say they make a profit, they said they make a profit and then they revise the hardware to make more of a profit and then they increase the price of it. So it's like, wow, where are we right now? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, and I say all this to say you have to look at everything Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan and Bobby Kay, even though they're like, he's in witness protection, like he won't even speak. You have to look at everything that they say as though they're talking to regulators and look at it with that lens, and you'll understand why they're saying what they're saying, and they're releasing this certain information to people for people to run with.
Well, you know what? Let's get to the big story because we only have about 15 minutes to kill anyway, but it's all related to this. So now we have hints of old Philly Spence talking about the price increase of Game Pass. Now, I have some
he
thoughts.
Didn't specifically say Game Pass.
Yes,
he said
sure.
Some
he said some things. I have some thoughts and I have a theory and I have just a question to ask you. But let's start off the top. We won't take too long on this one because we've been talking about this exact topic basically the whole time anyway. But so just at the top, he was asked, multiple times as he tends to be, right? And this time he basically said, we've stayed firm on our price on the console. We've stayed firm on our price on the games, and the subscription service. Can't be that way forever, right? But by and large, they felt that it was important going into this holiday season to keep prices consistent because of uncertain times, right?
Because our competitors who can raise price without fear of losing market share.
Basically, the broad strokes of it. What was your initial thoughts? And then I'll give you my theory. Go ahead.
My initial thoughts were I was right. My initial thoughts were they're spending $70 billion. And that one is going to have to be recouped, and them spending $70 billion and saying we need to raise the price because this content costs money to put in here is very different than being sold the same things, but just paying asshole tax.
That's your one.
Right. And so I think there is a distinction, right? If you tell me you went out to go and get me, Call of Duty and Overwatch and all these other things to put in this service, and because you went out and did that, it's going to cost me a little bit more. I say, you know what? Even though I don't care about COD or World of Warcraft or Overwatch, but I will start playing the campaign. I say, you know what? Like, fair is fair. That's a fair exchange. That's not the same thing as charging me $10 for lip syncing and $10 to use the DualSense controller that I just bought you. These are different things.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
But that being said, I said a long time ago, it's not show friends, it's show business. And Microsoft did not raise the price of their games to $70 because they did not have the content to justify it at the time.
Well, hold on. Let me hit you with my theory and see see what you have to say about that. Okay. Ever since all of this stuff started happening, right? All these conversations about the value proposition and, will Sony raise this and will Microsoft raise that? And I don't know if Mr. Gerald Mack is in here. He and I have had this conversation as well. And I think he's on my page. I feel like this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, that's what I feel like. I have no evidence to back it up, but follow me here. Ever since this conversation started, and this has been many months in the making now, everybody keeps talking about, macroeconomic realities. This and that. They like constantly. They're basically fighting the companies fight for them, right? As you rightly point out, everyone, Saga, it is not show friends, it's show business, right? Microsoft's ideas here on separating you from your dollars is not altruistic, it's strategic. They see that some of us respect the transparency with which they do their business, so it's working for them. They're doing that, right? If they saw that that's not how it was working for them, if people weren't, if it wasn't connecting to the consumer base, they would change tact, right? There has been a Microsoft that has been as egregious and as aggressive as Sony, and that Microsoft got their hand slapped many times ago, right? And they've strategically moved away from that because they find that the new method that they do it seems to have a better result for people, and people aren't like as upset when things happen, right? My theory here is they're basically responding to you, us, consumers, who won't shut the capital F up about it because you're basically telling them to increase their price to the point where it's been asked 1,000,000,001 times, and now Illy Philly is responding.
Charge them more.
Yes, that's what this is. In my humble opinion, like, you know, and let's be absolutely clear here. We all live in this world. We all see the macroeconomic difficulties. We see them, right? In our own personal lives.
You have to take a shot. You said macroeconomics.
Oh God, yeah, I did, right? I'll drink the last bit of my coffee, my bad. We see them, but we should not be in the business of trying to make talking points for these companies. We should, whether they be Microsoft and or Sony, right? So when they said this, I said, keep the same energy. You can't then get, even though we are 100% facts here, right? Even though, like you said, everyone, they're most likely, and we don't know this 100%, they said things. So I can see a situation where, hey, maybe the Activision Blizzard deal is done, and they say we increase the price for a new tier, and this new tier will include Activision Blizzard games day one or something. And if you don't buy that, then you still keep your regular subscription. Based on how the moves they've been making up until now, I can see them doing that and using that as their value add, rather than going, oh, yesterday's price is not today's price.
I don't know that I would like that, the messaging behind that.
Not to say I would like it. Let me be clear. Not to say that I would like it that way or not.
No, when I say I don't know that I would like it, I don't know that it would be effective. I think you muddle your messaging.
I don't think they'll do what Sony did. I don't think they'll do what Facebook Meta did, where it's like, see this thing that used to cost you A, now it costs you more because. I don't think they're doing that because they are too strategic in their PR department. They don't want to lose face. They know that everybody knows that they are sometimes $3 trillion company. They know that. So the idea of going, oh, well, difficulties, you now have to pay more, is not going to go over as well. And they know it. I'm very sure of that. So how they're going to charge you more, I don't think it'll just be that transactional, this $5 thing is now $6. It might be just a new value add that then costs you more, I think.
I mean, so one, there's obviously a few ways to go about it. I also think that Sony has kind of at least giving them a buffer to go up to $18 a month, because that's where Sony is, which is hilarious to me because it's not going to include things like Activision games. Yeah. But I think that, you know, I don't think the prices of the consoles go up.
Yeah, like to the question of Mr. Infinite Umbra, and welcome to you, sir. He's asking, he seems to think that our good brother Sycamore in the community thinks that Microsoft will increase their price of the consoles next year, Q2, which Umbra disagrees with.
Let me tell you why I don't think that that's the case.
Yeah,
you effectively erase the whole purpose of the Series S when you do something like that. And the Series S, literally only exists to be a low cost option. If you raise the price there, you know, you're nullifying the effect of why you went through all that trouble to begin.
100%.
So I don't think that's where it comes. I think when he says some things, I think he's talking about $70 premium games. A game like Pentiment will never be $70, right? Yep. But I do think they know with the incoming acquisition of Activision that COD will continue to be $70. And Starfield,
they're not dropping the price. They're not dropping the price.
Bethesda games will go up to $70.
Yep.
And then, you know, we'll see what Forza Motorsport does. but I think Game Pass stays where it is, at least for the interim, because that may be one of the concessions they have to make, that they can't, raise the price at least above a certain amount. But again, I don't know if regulators want to be in the business of of regulating the price of a subscription service, because you could literally be killing that business. So I think you find ways for that to go up. I also do think it's interesting. We all expect Xbox Live Gold to go away, but I think that's how you sort of sweeten the deal, even though it actually doesn't affect you if you're on Game Pass. But you say, hey, now that I think the price of Game Pass goes up when they can officially allow day one COD in it, right?
And to the point of the conversation we're having, real quick to the point of the conversation we're having, and specifically to this point, let me shout out the man, the king from the ILP, Mr. King David, for posting this up, and I actually retweeted him. Why? Because the man correctly pointed out that, hey, look at the deal that's going on right now. $199 including COD, right? And I saw that, and I retweeted him going, hey, if you think about it, that means now the console is $230 with COD included, right? $199 future is still on its way. So with that in mind, even where we are today, I don't see them authorizing Target to do what they're doing here, because they don't do this without without Microsoft's authority, right? Doing this and then saying, oh yeah, the Series S is now increased. I will see the Series S drop to $199. I'm still calling it. I'm still calling it.
Now, another way you could increase, right? You could increase the cost of Game Pass. I think so. There's several ways you do it. You say, okay, Game Pass. That I think you can introduce a new tier of Game Pass.
I foresee that.
I think that tier is going to be based around the Riot Games partnership.
Well, but that Riot Games partnership is all mobile for now.
Fantastic.
Right? Even though I keep saying that they're coming with console games too, but right now that deal is mobile. So you're right. That tier, and I've called that a while ago. That tier could be Game Pass Mobile.
You got to hear it. Game Pass Mobile is something that could cost $5, but you add it to the current Ultimate, and now
it's a new tier that gets added. Yes,
right. Exactly. And that tier will give you perks from Riot Games, probably perks from WoW, and perks for, I don't know, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76.
All the extras, yeah.
Right? So you pay $5 a month.
Lucius Augustus' point here, that family plan, right? We heard the presumed price, right? Because we were doing the calculations and the translations in currency, but they haven't actually officially put that out yet, right? So that could also come out and maybe be a bit more than you thought it was initially. Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that $5 per person for 5 people when you calculated it all out, right? $5 per person, like for Game Pass Ultimate. Maybe $750 per person Game Pass Ultimate.
Maybe. And so I say all this to say there's ways they could go about increasing the price, but in also increasing the value.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, if the price is going to go up, you need to do something for me.
Yep.
Right.
And I think they know that.
Now, if that value comes in the form of these mobile perks, sure. If that value comes in the form of we're also adding Ubisoft Plus or whatever they call it, then fine. If it comes in the form of, hey, now you have access to these subscription-based games, then
Shane is in here. Thank you so much for being here. He's saying that he doesn't see that $25 family plan coming out. No way. It will be interesting. It's funny how we heard a lot about that for a while, and now it's quiet, right? You thought that since it was tested there, it was being rolled out soon enough, but now it's kind of quiet. So to your point, they may see the CMA stuff, see what's happening in Sony land, see the price increases here and there, and go, hey, this justifies us. And of course, journalists who won't stop asking Phil Spencer about when the prices will get increased, and the Twitter sphere that just won't stop talking about macroeconomic realities. Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to making sure these things go up in price, whether you like it or you don't. Right? They're hearing you when you're speaking, so be careful of that. I think.
Yeah. So long story short, on my point on this. I think the prices, game prices will go to 70 first.
Yep.
Then when they can do a value add like Riot Games, or when they can actually put COD in the service, then the service goes up, but consoles don't go up.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that.
It will be a tiered approach of how this happens. But what I do not want to see, right, unless they're adding some extra value for this, not just saying, well, it's next gen, so you have to pay a tax. If they're adding extra value, meaning you get extra content for your money, I'm cool with it. What I don't want to see is people coming out here who were mad about $70 games now saying it's fine just because Microsoft is doing it.
Yep. It's about value for the dollar.
Get something for your money. And also, do not go around, like you don't have to be happy about this, right? And that was always the fight. It was not about Sony or whoever increasing the price of their games. It was about the people who were fighting to say yes, they deserve all your money, your hard-earned money.
Yeah. While I will understand intellectually why there is a need for price increases, as a gamer, I will never understand other gamers standing firm with me going, yeah, increase our price because reasons. No,
yes,
we are gamers. We always want our prices to stay the same, if not even get cheaper. That's what we're about.
But you're a customer, right? You're not a marketing executive. You're not a financial analyst. You're a customer.
So and of course, shout out to Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, who's here and agreeing with Mr. Everborn Saga, but we won't hold that against you.
Yeah, and he was right. And OBM says that he doesn't see it next year. I don't think it happens next year. You cannot put, even if the deal goes through with no restrictions, you can't put COD games into Game Pass until 2025.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. Well, until 2027, after you've made that overture?
No, I don't think so.
Or will they take the overture back? Because remember, 2024 was
they're not going to continue their marketing deal. They'll give them access to the game.
Sure, yeah.
So
but the deal. Well, but remember and please, again, folks, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't the length of the marketing deal. It was COD can't be on the service for X amount of years as part of the marketing deal. Right. So it doesn't mean that the minute that the marketing deal is over, that
I don't know. I didn't read it that way. I think there's several years until the deal is done.
So, and maybe I'm wrong there, and somebody can give us some corrections. But to me, it didn't sound like because we have a marketing deal, we can't also put it into Game Pass. It sounded like as part of the marketing deal, it also couldn't go to Game Pass for X amount of years. However, maybe we don't know.
I think for several years means till the end of that contract. But the other thing to consider is that if we look at the way that the Deathloop deal was done, that said, if you're going to go into another subscription service,
you got to go into ours
have to offer it to us.
Yes.
So we know that Microsoft isn't going to want to put COD on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
So how? Is it going to be like a 1-year thing? Like, is it going to be exactly like the Deathloop thing, where saying you have to wait 1 year until after the game release, and then you have to also offer it to us?
But isn't that an interesting way of circumventing? Well, not circumventing, but necessarily, but answering the questions of the CMA. Hey, we offered it to them. How about we put it on their subscription service as well? We're okay with putting it on PlayStation, but they didn't want that. What can we do?
I don't think they want it. I think they don't want that. That's what differentiates their platform, and they're not.
Well, but that's exactly the point, right? Sony doesn't want that. Who gives a crap what Sony wants?
Microsoft does not want to put.
You don't want. You think Microsoft doesn't want that either?
And sure. I actually don't think the CMA is going to block the deal, and I don't even think they're going to put many restrictions on it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But you know what?
But I'm willing to take your knees, Mill. Anyway, we got to wrap up. We got to
wrap up. We're ready to go. I was about to say, we are at the bottom of our hour. We are at the end of our episode. We kept it a brisk 2 hours. We're literally 2:04, so we're close. We're close. We're almost there. But again, I want to thank all the fine people that showed up, all the great people that are still in the chat, going back and forth.
Oh, by the way, just as we wrap up, Lucius Augustus says something important, which Sony couldn't afford it. So Microsoft could say, sure, you could have it in PlayStation Plus, $1 billion.
$1 billion with little backhanded pinky to the lip. Absolutely. But thank you guys again for being here. You know, we always enjoy chatting it up and doing this show with you guys. Some Saturday mornings we're like, we're gonna do the show. We're not so sure. And then we jump in here and we have a great time, great conversation, and you guys spur us on. And it was great that we did it in the first place. So thank you guys so much for being here, for continued support. On your way out, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please consider subscribing if you are new here. We're like 800 and some change. Hopefully we get there by the end of this year. A quick shout out before we wrap up completely. There will be some vacations coming up in the next couple of weeks for the Gaming Circle podcast for myself and Mr. Everborn Saga. So in the background, we will be working on possibly getting some shows that we will put into the feed that will not be live, but will premiere the day of the next episodes and whatnot. I don't know exactly when they will be. We might just have one, we might have two, depends on timing, but we're trying real hard to make it happen. And my wife is literally standing in my room now because there's no camera today, so she's feeling like a clown. Yeah, I'm timing out. Excuse me, my dear. Forgive me. Anyway, so Mr. Everborn Saga, where can the fine people find you? What are you doing this week? I am sure there's a lot of heat on Twitter still with you.
I am taking the family to Disney World, and we're leaving next Friday.
Yes.
So we are kind of trying to get ready for that. And work is an absolute shit show. Yeah. So we'll see if the building doesn't burn down while I'm gone. And we
got to connect, brother. We got to connect when you come here.
We are getting finally getting some new animations in. So the next time we do a show, I will be showing some things off for the game.
Fantastic. So there's a new build coming?
Process. New build coming? Nice. Not yet, okay. Because I have the walk, the jump attack, and the idle animation. They're working on the attack animations now, so it's a thing. So it's coming.
All right. Very good.
But Everborn Saga everywhere. You know where to find me if you're here.
Indeed. Well, okay. Two things on that. One, as I said, my time will also be limited because of vacation days and whatnot. But hopefully, you and I will get to connect for a drink before you go. Because for those who don't know, I'm pretty close to Disney, so we'll talk in the DMs. That's one. And secondly, maybe somebody installed a certain game engine and started playing around. But we'll talk about that one later as well. So yes.
Listen, man.
Thank you, Mr.
Quit our jobs and start this black-owned game.
Oh man, brother man.
Messing around.
Yes, we need to
you
stop
too,
being
Pixelbit G.
We all should jump in. We should stop being these corporate stooges and go out and do it for ourselves. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick Excel. Thank you for joining us. We are really wrapping up right now. As for me, you can catch me TKO Asante, Xbox, PlayStation, all the places you want to find me. As I said, we will be adding some specialty shows into the feed. I'm thinking of doing some the shows are over now, so let's do like a wrap up of maybe She-Hulk and or some of the other shows and whatnot, since we haven't really been doing any on the reel drops as of recently. Expect also some maybe tech drops, because there's a lot of tech news that we want to talk about. So
yeah, I want to do the Surface Duo 2
I would love it,
12-hour review, but we have to go, sir. That's it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
we'll find out when the show goes live.
Shout out to John Wolf, who had me on his show a couple days ago, and Mr. Boom, who had me on the show a couple days ago. Where he did a review of the Logitech G Cloud. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I was on his show; it was really fun. But I appreciate all of you all. We have to bounce. Thank you so much. Check out the Living Split Screen guys and let them know that the guys from the Game Circle podcast sent you. Thank you all so much, and we will see y'all next week. Have a good weekend.